let's get this show on the road. All right, so let's look. I think it's pretty obvious that we're bullish today, so let's figure out some draws. We have, I assume this is previous week high. Yep. So previous week high here. I already swept out that previous day high, this other high here, and kind of a bearish reaction to it, right? And so I guess we'll gauge this going into PM, but overall, like, order flow is still bullish, right? We just basically came back, filled in the hourly BISI here, IO fed it, and went right back up. So if I had to guess, because we closed over this 15-minute here, we took out that high. I mean, we're just going to go back for the highs today. So I think longs are on the table. And then, maybe we see a sweep of, like, I guess lunch lows here, and then that's our long. I don't really think it makes sense because there's no reason why price should come back to a hourly gap that we've already tapped into. But if we form the 4-hour candle at 2 o'clock and then create this 4-hour BISI, maybe we get a long from that. That would be something I'd be on board with, right? There we go.
Yo,
What's going on?
are you in this long?
No. I wasn't on the charts yet. Are you talking about the 2-minute here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't on the charts yet.
I'm just kidding. I just like to say, are you in this long? Then I like to see what you think I'm talking about.
For sure, for sure. Oh, we missed the
I mean,
hourly on NQU. Okay.
dude, I can't believe he came so close to those 1 minute equal lows and the 15 minute didn't even hit it.
We hit it on NQM, though.
Really? Dude, I hate contract rollover, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, if one's going to hit and one's not, like, what the hell's right?
I don't know.
You know?
And, like, the volume's not even low enough on either for it to be significant. I feel like today is just, like, a no-trade day. And then, honestly, this week's going to be pretty trash because we have no trading on Thursday. And then, I don't know, quad witching on Friday. And so we'll see. Yeah, market's closed on Thursdays, heavy. I mean, you can trade futures. I think it's until like 12, but yeah, like everything's closed.
Did you see the short I took?
Yeah, that was good. It was fine. I mean, it probably went against order flow, but we had that unfilled 1 hour below, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the bearish reaction of taking the high there. Dude, where are you?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm at Soyo Taco.
I could tell. All right. So yeah, basically the idea for this afternoon is we have a little bit of discrepancy between NQU and NQM right now, where NQU has came down and grabbed its 1 hour, or sorry, NQM has come down and grabbed its 1 hour, but NQU hasn't. And so ideally, I think it makes sense for price to come back to this unfilled 4-hour BISI when it forms at 2 o'clock, and then we get along from there. But it's going to be tricky, right? This week, kind of how I said last week, that, contract rollover provides weird PA. We get these situations where price will hit its targets on one contract, but not the other. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. As far as longs up here, obviously I don't want to take a long this high in premium without like a really good draw. And what I'd prefer, obviously, is a 50% retrace, but I know that that's probably unrealistic given how bullish order flow has been all day, right? So I mean, maybe we'll see 50% here, and maybe we can target that for shorts. But as long as order flow is bullish, which so far this reaction to the 1 hour gap here, and then how we've started to disrespect bearish PD rates to the upside, these 5 minute gaps, the 2 minute whatever, is telling us that order flow is still very bullish. So, what do you guys think is going to make me switch order flow here? Like, what would make me think, like, okay, I think we're bearish now? 1 hour inverse, 4 hour inverse. Good answers. Good answers for higher time frame. I'm thinking lower time frame right now. So, what do you guys think is going to make me switch on the lower time frame? It's probably the 5 or 15, right? And then if we get that inverse on the 5 minute, then we can say, like, okay, these are scalping conditions. This swing will probably take us to the unfilled 4 hour. And so maybe we can get a short there, right? Yeah, we have equal lows below. It's an okay draw, but I like that they're like relative equal. But today's going to be one of those days where like the lows don't hit because one contract hits and the other one doesn't, and then we have to worry about NQ1, and then we have to worry about, just like overall bad PA this week, considering we have FOMC on Wednesday, and then just overall, holiday week this week. It should be weird.
And I think PA's done fine.
And then we also distributed this whole morning, right? So whenever we distribute in one session, we typically expect the next session to accumulate. And so that's kind of what we're getting this session, right?
I love a pullback here and then a long, maybe.
Yep.
Draw the 50%.
Yeah, I got the 50% drawn. I got it at like 116 right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we're going to get a reaction on 50% though today. Like, if anything, what I think our move will be this afternoon will just be the pullback, and then we'll probably accumulate. Did I take any trades this morning? I did not. Yeah, the entry I was trying to get at 9:30 obviously went invalid, and then this entry, this confirmation log here, went invalid. Wait, obviously on a different time frame. But yeah, look at how strange this is. Okay, so we get the ITH here, right? And then NQU takes the high, but look at NQM. Do you see how NQM doesn't actually make this play invalid?
So dumb.
And then, yeah, this was all chopped, so I probably wouldn't have traded in this, but I think, looking for a short there for a pullback isn't a horrible idea. So just stick to NQM. No, you don't want to stick to NQM this week, actually. Whichever contract has the most volume, according to ICT, is what we should be trading. Vert, as we go through the week, it gets less and less volume until Friday, when there's like basically nothing. But like today, like we just got that threshold crossover where like NQU has more volume than NQM, and then tomorrow it'll be even more so, and so on and so forth. Behave. That's funny. That's really funny. No, Chris, you haven't missed anything. I was just pointing out the discrepancies between NQU and NQM. How's PM so far? Pretty tame. We got some Mexican restaurant background noise at the start of the stream. That was pretty good. 5 minute short looks good. Yeah, my biggest issue right now is just momentum. I was looking at this gap too. This is kind of going to be my condition, I think, for being bearish on the swing. Right, look for a scalp. Pip, honestly, like, see price come back to 50 here, and then maybe longs, or maybe we catch a nice short down to 50, something like that. I don't really have a lot of conviction in price to make the move down to 50 and then also be able to catch a move up. I think what'll happen is we'll probably accumulate, and then maybe we get some sort of manipulation leg here that takes us down to 50, and then we accumulate again. But yeah, that's about it. How was everyone's weekend? PM starts at 1:30 K trades. 1:30 Eastern. That's good, Vert. So when do we expect PA to be so-called normal again? I would expect normal PA on FOMC this week, and then probably next Monday. I mean, we just have the holiday, so like the no news day before FOMC is probably gonna not be the greatest. Like, what news do we have tomorrow? Do we have anything? We have retail sales. Like, that's not gonna really move the market, right? So because we have FOMC tomorrow, because it's a bigger rate decision day, I think everyone's kind of anticipating them to say something about the next quarterly rate update, that we are going to see a market move. And so in anticipation of that market move, tomorrow is probably not going to be that great. And then we have no trading on Thursday, and then obviously Friday is quad witching, which we saw like last quad witching wasn't horrible, but historically it's not the best day. There's usually a lot of manipulation and whatnot. So well, it'll probably be back to normal, Monday, and then maybe we'll see some good trades on Wednesday, but don't expect too much this week. But yeah, pretty cool sale this week for MFFU. Every single week, they've been kind of updating, like, with a new sale. And this week it's, if you pass an eval, you get an eval. So that's kind of cool. By the way, for those of you that like want to be entered into the giveaway, just like make sure you DM me with your information. I just need like the email that you paid for the account and how many accounts you purchased, and like the time you purchased them, and then that'll get you entered into the giveaway. How does that work? Yeah, Tag. So basically, if you buy an eval and you pass the eval and you get it funded, then they give you another eval for free. Yeah, Ape Off. Yeah, there's a giveaway happening. Any evals purchased this month, will go towards a giveaway, and then at the end of the month, I'll do a drawing for 3 people, and those 3 people will get, I think it's a Starter Plus account. But yeah, if you guys just go to like the PM announcements, that's where I made like the big announcement for it. No, it applies for any accounts purchased since I made the announcement post. So any account since 6/5, like if you bought an account and you just haven't put in your entries, um, just send me a quick message over Discord, and I'll make sure to get those entered at some point during the end of the day. I just need like the time or the date at which you purchased the eval, and then your email or evals, however many entries. But yeah, each transaction counts as 1 entry. So if you bought like 6 evals, that would be 6 entries. Do resets count? I think so. I don't know. If you send me just like the time of or the time of the transaction, Walrus, in your email, like I can confirm to see if that's the case. Yeah, that it counts for this week too, Trade Boy. Oh, you're talking about that? I think it's only during this week, unfortunately. Do I give one-on-one lessons during weekends? Normally, I just do it during trading hours, right? During AM session. But yeah, I mean, if you want to have a discussion, we can talk about it. I just wouldn't renew your eval, Pat, unless you're like obviously close to passing it. Um, but like if you're not close or you're negative, just buy a new eval, cancel this current one, and then use this. Okay, yeah, if they're blown, then yeah, you should definitely just like get a new eval using my code, so that way you can get the pass one get one free, right? How much are my one-on-ones? So I do a 2 hour session where we'll trade together in the morning from 9 to 11 a.m. And those go for $200. Actually, wait, no, I raised the price on that. It's another 250. Um, but yeah, in that we can talk about anything: psychology, ICT, the model, and then obviously we'll try and take a trade together as well if it presents during the AM session. The last one-on-one I had, we got a trade, so that was cool. Paid for the session. Can you hop in some shorts for me real quick so I can hit my TP? Yeah, I got you, Jujitsu. Would this 5 minute closing below this FHE put in an OB also, or because we still have an up close candle right below that, it wouldn't? So yeah, OB is like sequential like up close candles. So the order block here is just going to be the 15 minute, and so when price closes below this wick, that's like when I say like okay, that's usually our order block, right? So I'd probably wait for that sheets. But that's a good question, right? Let's find an example of an order block here. So order blocks are going to be best when they're at swing points, right? And so like here, this is a pretty obvious 5 minute bullish order block. And if you draw this order block to the right, what do you notice about price? Specifically the bodies, right? Because the bodies tell the story. Yeah, it continues to respect the OB, right? So the best OBs are going to be ones that have bigger bodies than wicks and form at swing points. So this is a good order block to use, right? They're also, they're best often like singular. Um, sometimes we can find like ones that are decent and they're not singular. Hey, appreciate it, Xola. But yeah, for right now, while we're just sitting here waiting for price to do something, um, I guess I'll try and get as many questions answered as I can. But I think maybe we'll see price kind of clean up at 2 o'clock here, and then we'll kind of see. I don't really think 3 o'clock is going to give us much of anything. Maybe we'll see previous hourly low to previous hourly high, but we've been really not seeing much of those lately, to be honest. Those like 3 or 4 weeks when they were hitting though, that was like really really nice. We just got like consistent, you know, just moves during PM where we hit the previous hourly low and then go right back up to that previous hourly high. Being able to top tick and get 1 to 20 RR sick. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Vert. I think it's just bad timing with the contract rollover. Once contract rollover passes this week, like next week, it'll be good. If we don't get a trade, Vert, then it is 100% your fault, and I'm gonna have to ask you to leave PM. But like, on a serious note, all markets are cyclical. We go through moments of like good PA and then bad PA and so on and so forth. So that's probably all this is. We had a really good couple of weeks where we were getting expansion on the higher time frame and things were easy to read. And now if you look at the last, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 weeks here, look at when price just like completely died, right? I mean, we just have not left this range, this like 1,000 point range where, we've just been like chopping, right? And so when we're expanding like this and price makes nice, obvious moves, like this is when, you're going to get these good plays. But when we're consolidating like this on the higher time frame, it just is worse PA, right? I mean, you could find a lot of instances in price where stuff like this happens and then it's just not as good. So we're in the macro now. Maybe we'll see price accelerate towards its target. Ideally lunch lows here so we can get that 4-hour tap and then we can go from there. Was this a bad trade? So the only problem with that trade, K, is that you're going against order flow by taking that. Would you agree with me that price today was very bullish? What is this, the 5-minute time frame? 3-minute? Okay. So you took like this short. Yeah, so we're very bullish, and so without some extra confirmation, meaning like, okay, we get a substantial market structure shift and price violates gaps that are significant in terms of the market, then trying to short here is like fading the bias, right? And so the majority of these trades are going to end up being losses or break evens. And as you saw, this was a break even trade. Same with Dodgies, right? He doesn't really have a market structure shift until this point here, but because of the contract rollover and whatever bad PA and the fact that he's outside the kill zone, price comes back to his entry and ends up being a break even trade before hitting his intended target, which price actually never hits. We actually end up getting like an SMT there with the other contract. So just some examples here, right? You want to be trading with the trend, not against the trend. Yeah, I agree. Like I would have never taken this vert, to be honest. I get the idea, but it's outside the kill zone on a no news day, and you're fading the bias. Yeah, for sure. Best trade today was the 1 minute long on RTY after London low swept. Okay. Yeah, maybe we just got to start trading other indexes. Like, let's pull up the three. All right, so we're gonna start trading gold now. Um, let's see what's going on with gold today. All right, so gold actually doesn't look great. Uh, here's gold 1 minute. Um, I guess we held the civvy here. We got a pretty big dump after open. This short wasn't horrible. Maybe on the 3-minute it looks better. Not 3-minute would have failed actually. Yikes. Okay, so maybe gold isn't the play. All right, do we have another? Actually, no. You would have wanted to wait for multiple time frame confirmation there. So maybe you wait for the 5 minute there. It's not a loss. It just ends up being a break even play still, because you go break even at the gap there, and the price runs back up. We might actually end up getting this 5 minute inverse here. So 5 more minutes until the 2 o'clock candle forms. And then obviously in 5 more minutes, we'll also see the 15 inverse. So maybe with the 15 minute and the 5 minute inverse here, this is like a short down to the 1 hour. Is this 5 shorting just into the 3, or does that 3 not matter much? Okay, so I think the 5 and 3 probably should both inverse as well as the 15, because the 15 isn't really that significant. None of the gaps that are being inverse here honestly have significance, because they don't have any history and they didn't make higher highs. So because of that, I feel like you want to wait for multiple time frame confirmations here, considering you're shorting against the bias, right? So maybe you wait for the 3, the 5, and the 15 here before taking a trade. Yeah, sheets, yep. Yep. Right idea. On the 1 minute, we focus on FEG 30 minutes back. On the 3, we focus on hour back. On the 5, we focus on hour. So I was wanted to see some clarity as to why a fair value gap that was 2 hours out on the 1 minute got respected. It just kind of threw me off a bit. Okay, so if we're looking at 12 o'clock here, you're asking me why this 1 minute gap was respected from where? Here? This one? All right, so let's go back and look. Is there any other gap there in any other time frame? Let me get out of the try view. Let's go to this view. So there's nothing on the 5. Not really anything on the 3 there. There's a 2 minute. But yeah, the reason why we respect here, Lord, is because we have this 5 minute order block. That's pretty obvious, right? And so the bodies are going to tell you the story. And you can see here that this 5 minute OB holds the bodies of price this whole time. So imagine this order block that we create here is like almost like a supply zone, right? And supply and demand. And so as long as we're respecting this, then price should continue to remain higher. If we inverse this, then this is like inversing bullish PD arrays, right? And so when price starts disrespecting bullish PD arrays, what does that tell us about order flow? That tells us that price is bearish, right? If we're disrespecting bullish PD arrays. So the reason why price ended up holding this is because, this was technically a bullish PD array that was being respected, and we actually ended up holding CE here. Now, when price disrespects CE, we go in to fill the whole thing, but then as long as we're still holding it, price is bullish, right? So that's kind of the idea, right? You can look at fair value gaps for the most part and be like, okay, this is why price is holding this. But you have to look at other time frames as well and other PD arrays, right, to identify other things that might be holding price. If we short this, is that not into an order block? Yeah, it would be. It would be. So what we have to evaluate here when taking the short is, all right, what's our stop and what's our take profit? Is it 1-to-1 away? And so right now where price is closing, I wouldn't say that it's a 1-to-1 trade. It's probably slightly worse. So I probably won't end up taking this. But yeah, I mean, you're shorting into bullish PD arrays, right? The idea here is that essentially by inversing multiple time frames here with a pretty bearish reaction to the highs, you're anticipating that flip in order flow before it happens. And then when the 5, the 3, and the 15 get inversed here, that's price telling us, okay, order flow is a flipped bearish, right? But as long as we're still respecting bullish PD arrays here, then order flow is not flipped. So if this 3 minute gets held, then I think order flow is technically still bullish. But once we inverse this 3 minute, now that we've gotten the 5 and the 15, that would probably be a strong enough confluence. The only problem with shorting this 3 minute gap is what? What is our problem? Yeah, bad risk to reward, right? And would we anticipate price to head lower past the 4 hour / 1 hour here? right? Probably not. We can only expect price to come down to this gap. Obviously we can think, okay, price might go down to 50%, but 50% is never a guarantee, right? And I like that 50% aligns with the unfilled 1 hour here and the unfilled 4 hour. But if price doesn't want to, it doesn't have to hit 50. So I want to get 1-to-1 risk to reward on a trade where like the target is guaranteed to hit, right? Not something that I'm guessing on. So targets that are usually guaranteed to hit are like unfilled PD arrays, equal lows and equal highs, and data wicks. And is a 50% level any of those things? Yeah, probably not. So here's the issue with trying to take the entry now on the retrace so you can get better risk to reward. Has order flow been confirmed bearish yet on the lower time frame? No, right? So because order flow hasn't been confirmed bearish, we don't know if we're trading with or against the bias, right? We won't know that until we inverse this. So if we start to disrespect bearish PD arrays to the upside now, then that just tells us, okay, price is clearly still bullish here, right? And so would I take this long ever? Probably not, because we're too high up in the range. It's like longing after buy side's been hit, and we don't really have any good draws on liquidity above to make it worth it to take a long in premium here. So I'm just going to be waiting, right? I want to take trades that are at the extremities of the range when we're accumulating, because those trades often are the manipulation like plays that allow us to, enter during distribution. So if I enter a long here or a short here, I'm kind of entering during accumulation. I'm kind of entering during the least probable phase of the market. And so while I don't necessarily think that a short here is horrible because we have unfilled higher time frame gaps below, and that can be a good draw, taking a long here is bad because you're essentially longing in the middle of the range without a good draw, right? And so what I want to do here instead, if I'm going to take a long, is I'm going to wait for one side of the range to be swept, forming our manipulation leg, so that we can, continue to get like maybe that second leg of distribution or whatnot to the upside. Still have data highs at 323. What are these from, like NFP or something? What time is this? Oh my gosh. Wait. Wednesday 6/11? What happened at 6/11? Wait. Okay, this is on NQU. Have they been swept on NQM? Oh no. Okay, so they haven't been swept on either. They're from CPI. Okay, so we do have a data wick above. The problem with targeting this data wick is what? Actually, wait, no, it's 150 points, so that's not horrible, but what could be a problem with this data wick? It's kind of far given the context, right? We're not really getting much movement. It's not necessarily that it's too old. It's just like it's far given the context of the market right now, right? And if we're seeing this as like a higher time frame target, we want we want something to correlate with that, right? So if we're thinking about time frames that correlate to higher time frame targets, we're usually thinking 5, 15, 1 hour plus, right? And this data wick is now essentially a daily high, right? Previous week high, actually. So you want that inverse or whatever PD array that sends price to that high to correlate, on the lower time frame. So in this scenario here, I probably wouldn't use a 1 minute inverse to target the data highs here, right? Because contextually that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if we got like a 15-minute inverse, maybe I would take that, right? Yeah, Rizu, right? Yeah, you want to pair your fair value gaps, on the or draws in liquidity on the higher time frame with some, contextual lesser time frame fair value gap repeated array. Evaluate. We have a time. We have the macro, right? We have the SMT, so we kind of have a sweep. What is our draw? What is our draw? Just like an ITL, right? So our draw is an ITL. And momentum, how is our momentum? If we draw from here to here, since this is our swing low. Am I stupid? I'm pressing shift. Hello? Okay, whatever. All right, 27 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 8 minutes it's taken us to go 27 points. So that is not good enough momentum. So we don't have momentum. We have model, we have time, and we have bias, but our draw is weak. So we really don't have bias. So you're basically taking a time and model play here. And we don't have a sweep of the lows on this indice. We just have the SMT. So it's weaker in that regard too. So it's like an A setup, model-wise, inside the macro with bad momentum and weak bias. So maybe an eval play, but probably not, to be honest. I'd probably just sit out on this one and wait. All right. John, I think Dodge, you said you had a question for me. What's your question, John? Let's see. What would you be looking for in terms of good momentum? Usually I say, like, in most contexts, 5 points per minute is good momentum, right? And you can measure that by looking at any, like, swing that appears that it's going to inverse, the FEG. And if that swing has an average points per minute of, 5 points, then that's good momentum. Obviously, contextually, that changes given market conditions. So if price is, like, really volatile and we're moving, like, 30 to 40 point 1 minute candles, like when Trump is speaking, obviously, like, that's not, relevant. But when the VIX is lower and, it's normal market conditions, then 5 points per minute is pretty good. That's just what I found. Same thing, for obviousness of gaps, right? Typically an obvious gap is 4 points at least. And then that changes given the context of the market too. If we inverse a 15-minute FEG with a 1 hour / 4 hour FEG, higher time frame number inverse, can I ignore that? We are in a higher time frame and target first low or high based off the 15-minute inverse. If we swept liquidity, yes. If we don't sweep liquidity, then probably not. But, like, yeah, if we hit like a high like this morning, right? We get a 15-minute inverse to the downside, but we're still respecting 4 hour and 1 hour. Yeah, you can take that 15-minute inverse to that first draw liquidity there, right? And then you can reevaluate and see, okay, is this market like actually shifting, or are we, just getting a retrace, right? What's going on, Harry? Is this a good 30-second short? So the problem with trying to take this as a 30-second short here is momentum isn't that good. We don't really have a liquidity sweep, and the 3-minute gap here is still holding, which tells us that order flow is still bullish. So you're fading order flow, you don't have a liquidity sweep, and we have bad momentum. So I would say no, K trades. Any trades today? Not yet. Not yet. I'm actually going to go full size for this chart now. Just until something interesting happens here. But yeah, this is bad momentum. With the starter plus, it's 2-day, 50% a day pass. Do you think I could still do the CPI strat? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just got to be careful, right? Because of slippage. I honestly find that passing the MFFU accounts like at a normal rate is better, but do what you got to do. Because here's the problem, profitable. If you're having to use 2 different news events to pass your eval, there's a chance that you go long one news event and go short on the other account, right? So you hedge. And then the one gets you to 1,500 profit, and the other one loses 1,500 profit. And then you go into the next news event, and then you try, going long on the account that you went long on before that was up, and you go short on the other account that's down, and then you end up even after 2 news events because now we go short, okay? So the one account hits DLL, and the other account gets back to even. You know what I mean? So like that's the problem with trying to use 2 news events to pass. You should only do it in one. Like what I like to do is I just like to size up. And then yeah, I don't know. Like I'll instead of risking 250 per trade like how I normally would on a funded, I'll risk like 500 on an eval. Yeah, still, even in that scenario, right? Like, so yeah, you use the limit orders, right? You place limits above and limits below. Let's say you do well the first time, and then the second time it fails, right? So it might just take longer using the news pass strat to do that. Because then you have to wait a whole other month for CPI and NFP to come back around, right? And then you have to pay a rebill, and then whatever. So I guess what you could do, this is what you could do, is you could try doing the news pass strat on the first go, right? To get halfway there, and then you just trade normal for the next, however long, right? So it's like you get like a little boost off the start. Maybe that's what you do instead, right? This 3-minute is bad because of momentum. Yeah, it's bad because of momentum. Now we're outside the macro. Yeah. What you could do is you could get halfway to passing both by copy trading, and then on the next news event, you full port, right, and you try and get 1,500 on the news day, and then the other account just goes back to even, right, from where you started it. Yeah, Ethan. So I think I talked about this trade earlier in the stream already, but basically my thoughts on it are you're essentially taking a short using a gap that doesn't really have any significance, right? And so like we want to be taking inverses off of gaps that have, created some history, meaning they've held price for a while, or that have set price to a higher high. So if you look here, do you notice how this gap that you took as an inverse didn't really have any significance, right? Even though we swept buy side and we got that soup reaction, the inverse, the fact that this gap gets inverse doesn't necessarily tell us that okay, now order flow is bearish. But if you look here, you can see price created this 3-minute gap. It's not that obvious, but we create it, we tap into it, and it sends price to a higher high. Now look at what happens when price inverses it. You can see that, okay, now this gap is significant. So you enter here, right? This is our inception gap. We end up holding the inception gap, I think. Yeah, we hold it to the tick. And then price ends up heading lower and ultimately hits the 1 hour. But because we're on contract rollover week, it's just not like that clean. We hit it on NQM, but not NQU, right? Where are we? There we go. Wait, nope. There we go. So like here is where the hourly is. So we hit it there, but not here. So This gap here is because it has significance and set price to a higher high. When it gets inversed, that tells us, okay, price is actually going to head lower. 30-second short failed, like I said. Yeah, I figured. But yeah, Ethan, that's essentially it, right? Like, this is like a poor example, right? But you'll see other examples where it's like better, where you'll actually see, you know, price, where you'll see price fail when inversing one insignificant gap, but then work when it inverses the significant gap. You can see here that it just like has a lower win rate. So this 3-minute short failed here also because we're outside the macro time. And then this 3-minute worked, and we're also outside the macro time. So it's just like a lower win rate. That's all. This is a higher win rate. Yeah, it looks good, Napoff. But yeah, while we're in this accumulation phase, there's really nothing we can do, right? We're essentially just waiting for a break of one side, kind of like how we were on I think it was Friday. And then, you know, once we get that break, we'll see. Or sorry, not Friday, it was Thursday. We'll see where price goes from there. Why am I basing it off the 3-minute and not the 5-minute that got inversed already? Because this is like the lowest gap in the leg, right? So there's a chance here that price inverses the 5 and the 15-minute. And because, you know, as I just talked about, they don't really have significance, right? Like this 5-minute didn't send price to a higher high or respect, you know, held price for a significant period of time. Because it doesn't have any significance historically, the fact that it gets inverse doesn't tell us anything about order flow. So what we have to do in this scenario is wait for all time frames on this swing to get inversed in order to say definitively, okay, now I know we're going to go for this low. And so because this 5-minute gap is above this 3-minute, we could see price inverse this 5 but not inverse the 3 and end up respecting price, you know, bullish. And what that tells us about order flow is, okay, price is still respecting lower time frame bullish PD arrays. And, you know, as long as we're respecting lower time frame bullish PD arrays and we're still respecting bullish PD arrays overall, that tells us order flow is bullish. So that's why we want to look at the 3-minute here. Marlin. Is this LRLR? Yeah. Yeah, that's like decent 30-second LRLR. The problem is, right, whenever we're trying to look at LRLR, we can look at it in terms of like hierarchy, right? So we can do the same thing with equal highs and lows, right? Where like the best equal highs and lows are going to be like stacked ones that are like on the higher time frame, or like, you know, equal lows or equal highs that are on like the 4-hour or whatever, right? And then if you know, look down, you know, there's 5-minute equal highs and lows, and then like the worst are like side by side 1-minute equal lows. So it's kind of the same thing with LRLR. And what it comes down to is essentially, okay, how many orders are there going to be at these swing points that form the LRLR? So I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Which LRLR here is better? Like if we're just pretending. Okay. Oops. Let me try again. Okay, so there's this LRLR. Okay. And this is the 1 to 5 minute time frame. Okay. And then there's this LRLR. Okay. Okay, and this is going to be on the 15 to 4-hour time frame, okay? Which LRLR is going to have more significance? The left or the right? L or R? You think L is going to have more significance? No. Right, R, right? So higher time frame. And then why is this one going to have more orders than this one at each of the swing points? Okay, because it's higher time frame, sure. So there's more time to build up orders. Okay. Yeah, it's spaced out. Same idea. There's more time to build up orders. So that's basically the idea, right? There's going to be more time for price to build up orders in each of these swing points, right? So this is like, you know, let's say it takes an hour to form this swing, and then an hour to form this swing, and then an hour to form this swing. When we're looking at this LRLR here, how much time was used to build up these swings? Not that much, right? It was only like 3 minutes here, then like 5 minutes here, right? And so each of these swings, you know, they might have stops at it. but they're not significant. And so when we want to think about orders, we want to use significant highs because that means that those highs that are significant are going to have more eyes on them. And retail is going to be placing their stops at the more significant highs. So that's the other part too about 15 and 15 to 4 hour LRLR is that the highs that are formed on the higher time frame are going to have more eyeballs on them, right? You know, there's traders that won't even trade the 1 minute, so they'll never see these swing highs here, and they'll never place stops there. Whereas other traders will see these swing highs, and they're very obvious. So it looks like we just got the 3 minute inverse. Obviously, bad momentum here. But now I would anticipate price to run to the low because now order flow has been confirmed bearish, at least on this swing, right? So I would expect price to run at least to this low. And if we're thinking, okay, you know, now that we're at this low, is there any roadblock to the left here that would stop price from going to this next low? And if there's not, then you can just assume that, okay, so if there's no roadblock there, then price should just go to this low as well. And if that low is paired with some good draw on the higher time frame, like the 4 hour, then obviously, you know, that would make us think, okay, now price is going to go for that low, right? So that's kind of the idea when looking at like order flow here and looking at draws and liquidity. If liquidity is, you know, not a significant low and it doesn't have any roadblocks to the left, then you can assume price will go to the next liquidity point. Now, the issue with taking this short is it's not really a great trade. If you entered here, it would be better because at least the risk to reward would be better than 1-to-1. But the momentum is bad and we're outside the macro. So it's just a bias and model trade. Actually, it's not even a model trade because we don't have a sweep. So it's just a bias trade, right? So this isn't even eval worthy in my mind. So all right, we'll do IDK. But yeah, back to this LRLR idea. Does that make sense? If we think about where orders would be, essentially you want to be asking yourself, okay, where would the most eyeballs be on the chart, okay? And lower time frame traders are always going to use everything above them, right? So like in our situation, you know, we use the 30-second and above. So what that means is because we know time is fractal, we're going to use every time frame from the 30-second onward. Some traders are only going to use the 5 minute and up, right? So they're only going to see time frames that are 5 minute and higher. Some traders are only going to use the 1 hour and up, right? So what time frame is going to have the most eyeballs on it? Like if retail traders are always going to be, you know, using the time frame that they're on and higher. Yeah, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, etc., right? And so that's why LRLR in the higher time frame is going to have more orders on it because more traders are going to be using these swing highs as like places to place their stop versus the lower time frame. So that's kind of how you can view hierarchy for like a lot of different media arrays is based on that same idea of orders, right? And so for this example of LRLR that we're using, sure, we can say that like mechanically like this looks like LRLR. You know, we're seeing lower highs consistently respecting a trend line. But the problem is subjectively it's not that good because we know that in this instance there's not going to be many orders at these highs. That's essentially where we were trying to get to by that whole conversation. So 3 minute short here has not failed yet. We have to include the inception gap here, right? I mean, technically this is the swing right here that inverse the gap, so technically there's no inception gap, but I would probably wait for this. But yeah, like overall, like price is in an accumulation phase, right? And so that's kind of why we're seeing price fail. You know, taking trades in the middle of the range is going to lead to more losses because during an accumulation phase, everything is lower probability since price is at a point where it doesn't really know where it wants to go next, right? We don't really know where price wants to go until we see some manipulation leg and then, you know, get the confirmation that the distribution leg is following that manipulation leg, right? Nah, Fahrenheit, I haven't taken anything yet. So if you have clean 1 minute LRLR upside but clean 1 hour LRLR to the downside, I would be more bearish as long as order flow aligned with that. For if order flow is going to be bullish, then I'm going to favor the 1 minute LRLR to the upside, right? You have to pair drawn liquidity with order flow always. My TP is at the unfilled hourly. I was planning for a 200-point TP, but I guess, yeah, probably not. An inception gap is a gap that forms on the swing that inverses the fair value gap. So in this scenario here, this 3 minute technically isn't an inception gap because it's not on the swing that inverses the fair value gap. That swing is actually technically this high to this low. So this would technically be a failed 3 minute inverse. But when will we see order flow become bullish again? If we're bearish right now. Not yet, Rick. Yeah, when this 3 minute gets inverse to the upside, right? So as long as order flow remains bearish here, I truly don't believe this 3 minute inverse short has failed in the eyes of like, okay, now we're bullish, right? This is just like an example of poor delivery. So in this scenario here, like if I was taking this on an eval, I probably wouldn't stop out until the 3 minute inverses. Right. I would never take this on a funded. Have I looked at a T-Trade's fractal model? And if so, I have not, Brandon. I'll take a look at it, I guess. Appreciate it, Jiu-Jitsu. We are in the daily bearish FEG and we have some LRLR below, so only short trades. So, yeah. Bias is drawn liquidity plus order flow / delivery, right? So if our order flow is telling us that we're bullish, even if we have LRLR below, is that going to matter? Right? Yeah, probably not, right? So if order flow becomes bearish, that might matter more. So what here is going to tell me that higher time frame order flow is bearish, right? So we can target something like the LRLR below. Yeah, usually we try and get 2 to 4 a week, Rick, but we're just like in a bad week because of the fact that contract rollover is this week. So let's go to the 1 hour here because it's not on the NQU, but there is a gap that I'd like to use. That would tell me higher time frame is bearish. Ah, well, I can't find it. Is it this? Yeah, I guess it's this, right? So this 4 hour here is what would tell me I think we're going to run the LRLR, right? Down to here.
Yo. Hello?
What's going on?
Dude, this is so bad.
Yeah, we're just talking hypotheticals right now. That's about it.
This is so bad. Oh my god. The only thing I'd want here is a dump to that 15-minute.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be good.
Dude, my friend wants me to go to Argentina from Wednesday to Sunday.
Damn, that's crazy. Argentina?
Reliable, look at my text.
Okay.
You think I should go? I haven't been out of the country like that before.
I think it'd be a cool opportunity, but I would probably go to like Mexico or something first if you've never been out of the country before.
Well, I've been out there on a cruise.
Okay. I don't know. Is he a local or is he just like?
You know, he's Colombian. He's been there before.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, you could go. That would be fun, actually.
Dude, I low-key might go to Iran, actually.
True.
I've been thinking about Iran. Or Israel. Does anyone want to go with me? Alright, but yeah, let's just book a flight. Yeah, we'll take the battle bus.
Oh god. Dude, I heard they had mechs. I don't know if I'm trying to go back to season 10.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, you know that guy, Chefin or whatever?
Yeah.
Dude, he said let's 1v1, and he gives me a 4-0 lead on EU servers. And if he beats me to 5, he gets free 6 months of Discord. So I get on Fortnite last night. First time on like months. Didn't even warm up, just started building. Bro, I couldn't even build, and he just like was just like killing me like 2 seconds.
Damn.
And I'm like, bro, I'm not doing this. This is stupid.
Damn.
Like I was on like 150 ping. I couldn't even build. I would build a wall and he'd shoot through my wall in like 2 seconds to just kill me. I'm like, okay, this is stupid.
That's when you got to pre-fire. You just got to pre-fire every single time he takes a wall.
Dude, I couldn't. He was like abusing the ping I was on.
Damn.
And I just like couldn't build in general because I haven't played in a while. So I was like, bro, I'll do this, but I need to be playing a lot again.
It sounds like Dodgy Zonk.
So. No, I like stop playing.
We're watching this 3-minute short right now.
Yeah, we're gonna dump here, I think.
Here, you take over stream. I'll be right back.
Okay. You're still in that short from 3 hours ago? Are you serious? Oh, the one from the 15-minute PPR? Yeah, I would target the 15-minute gap. The unbalanced one. The equal lows are reliables marked. Why do you not like zero build reload? I hate zero build. I hate the build. Yeah, I just haven't been a Fortnite that much. Everyone plot the 30-second from 116. Once you have it plotted, send your chart. You're in bed? Oh. Alright. So that's like the last thing we need to break.
Anything happen?
Nope.
Nice.
Did you see my text?
Yeah, with Buddy.
Isn't that so funny?
Hey, man. I don't know. He's got some work to do.
What indicator am I using? Oh, Jiu-Jitsu. Ladies and gentlemen, I am currently sitting in this trade right now, and this is the first trade I've taken in a while.
When was the last
right,
OSFL? I have no idea.
Dude, I don't even know. We haven't been watching one remake.
I guess OSFL was literally one setup for your entire life. Like you get one setup and that's it.
We're dumping here, guys. If this 30-second goes, we're dumping. Why did I say 116? What about 116?
The 50% level vert.
Oh yeah. What do you think about this 1 minute long?
Okay, bro.
Or this 30-second long? Sorry.
Yeah, fire. Banger play right here.
What do you think about this 30-second short? I mean, think about it. Dude, this is literally a resistance level. Draw the 30-second support we just broke and draw as resistance. See those two lines? Like, no, up. Right there, yeah. Like, is this not like support and resistance right here, like a retest? And it makes sense to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. I don't know if it's my model, but yeah.
I could be cooking right now.
Have you been backtesting this one? The double
No,
bottom
but
break?
like... No, but like, it could work.
Yeah.
Stop at the high and then target that level. It's almost a 3R.
What high? Like this high?
No.
212?
Stop at the 234 high. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just put ourselves in the minds of support and resistance traders right now and take this trade in our mind and see what happens, all right? So we're taking a play here, guys, but we're taking it in our head, not in the actual chart, all right? Who's in with me in their head?
Oh, that's the text.
Type 1. Dude, I'm low key. This could actually work. You're at $500 in your head. I'm up about $2 in my head. You've got a Porsche in your head. You're in 2 micros in your head, right, Jiu-Jitsu? Please tell me you're not actually in. Okay, good.
Let's see. You like what I got marked up on the chart right now?
Nah, I'm not looking. Dude, I'm going on a date tonight, bro. I don't even know what, dude. I just have no experience with girls, dude. Ugh. We're just gonna
Fake until
test
you
it
make
out.
it, man.
Yeah.
Dude, where's the 100? I'm trying to brain rot the charts, guys. Is it working?
Yeah, it is. Okay, back into this 30-second, and this 30-second just cannot break.
Yeah, Dave. So essentially, a PD array is a any like I guess tool that we use when like identifying how the market moves, right? So like an example of a PD array is a fair value gap or an order block or a breaker block or a rejection block or I don't know CE, right?
Dude, someone sent me this. Wait, like 94% win rate bot on Twitter, but it's like not. It's like there's something when you backtest a bot, you can tell if it's called what's it called? It's called a repaint. A repaint. I don't know what repaint means.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is what it looks like. Apparently, it's called a repaint though. Profit factor is 28.
Damn.
Just makes no sense. But it's called a repaint, so it's not actually like that. When it's alert and when candles open and when it closes, it doesn't show anymore. Yeah, I don't understand what that means. So so like it won't work, right? Hey, Puff.
All right. Well, this 30-second gap seems to be resisting price, and the double bottom break here seems to be supporting price. The 15-minute about to close. Yeah, we already had the 15-minute inverse, so this would just be putting in like a pretty not great order block here, right? This order block is formed not at a swing point, so it doesn't really have a lot of significance. Here's an example of an order block that was formed not at a swing point, and you can see price just runs immediately through it. So I would anticipate that would happen the same if we were bullish here. What time does PM end? 4 p.m. So we're about halfway through. But yeah, I mean, today's bad. We just distributed all morning, so now we're just probably chopping.
Yep. All right, have fun. Goodbye.
All right, see ya. Wait, that was crazy timing. He left and we just dropped 7 points.
Yeah, I had to enter this real quick.
Okay. Oh, there's the inverse. Oh, there's the low. All right, so if we had price start to clean up here in the next 5 minutes, we swept the low and then we got a long during the macro out of the 4 hour. That could be interesting. Am I marrying 50? No, I'm not. We tapped a 2 minute. Kind of. I guess this one to the left here, right? What we did hit is ES made a new low there. So we have a bullish SMT with one of these lows. I don't know. We're just still in that bullish SMT, right? Swig, that would be ideal because right now, if we were to try and take a long after the low got hit, but we didn't hit 50%, that would be like us trying to long in premium without a good draw on liquidity above, right? If we get the long from discount, then it's okay because it's more high probable, right? The only time we're going to long in premium is when we have a good draw on liquidity, so that way that draw on liquidity kind of makes up for the lower probability that longing in premium normally gives. Right. Obviously, we wouldn't be using one of these fair value gaps that we're recently forming right now to take as an inverse. We'd be waiting for something else, just because like these gaps are probably too small, and the break-even point on this 30-second isn't very good. What was the most days you went without trade? I don't know. This is. I mean, we had a trade last week, last Friday morning, right? So, like, we've had trades. But as far as PM goes, how many days has it been? We haven't had a winning PM trade since 6/5. That's how many trading days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't trade Friday. So 6. So we're 6 trading days? Yikes. That's pretty bad. I feel like probably 10. So we're not quite there, Fifth Captain. Like there was probably, I don't know. There was probably a stretch of time there where we didn't have a trade during like March or whatever. Let's go back and look. But like May was super consistent. Like we got trades all during May. April was super consistent. We had a 105 point play in April. March. So during March. Okay. Oh wow, March was really consistent too. Oh gosh. Okay, so yeah, this has been this has been this has been one of the bigger droughts we've had. Okay, it looks like early February was our last big drought. Early February we had like 2 weeks without a trade. So, it's been like since 3 months ago. Okay. All right, so we hit the 4
took
hour.
that? Who took that in their head? Let's go. And who took the 30-second short? Let's go. Boom, baby. Let's go.
I mean, it looks like it was 1-1.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is my play right here. Look. You enter at this resistance, and then you cover at the support.
Okay.
You enter in the retest.
Yeah. I've seen that.
You ever
one
trade
before.
support and resistance, buddy? Nope, I don't think so. I'm the master of support and resistance.
Dude, my mouse is tweaking. All right, I think it's better. 3 minute would be A plus.
Yo, I'm up 4 million in my head after that one.
Jiu-Jitsu, what would be A plus is if we hit 50% here and then get a long, but I don't know. I mean, that's asking a lot of the market, I think.
Yeah, who wants $1,000? I'll give you $1,000 for my trade.
I'll take $1,000.
I
Say
bet.
less.
Let me I'm gonna transfer it to your head. All right.
All right.
All right. All right. I just gave it to you.
You know, he's making fun of it, but one day this will be possible. We'll be able to Apple Pay to the chips in our head.
Okay, wait. This 15-second is actually pretty good.
No, it's shut up. What are you saying? It's
Okay, I'm
four
going break
ticks.
even here for this 15-second.
Okay. I'm gonna take the 3 minute.
Dude, look at this 15-second. Are you serious?
I can't.
Bro, how is that not a good setup?
It's 1 point. It's a 1 point gap.
Yeah, but look at the manipulation lag.
It was invalid. We had a VI.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Alright. I'm gonna leave before people start unsubbing.
It's too late. It's already ruined. All right. Yeah, this 3 minute long isn't horrible. I still think I'd prefer 50 here, but if we got the 3 minute long, maybe I take it on eval. Just because we don't have the draw to make up for the lower probability that's longing in premium. But it is during the macro, so if we get it in this next 1 minute, I'll take it. I won't take it unfunded. I'll just take it on eval.
Okay, this actually looks banger.
Yep.
Should I take this alert, guys?
Why not funded? You're just longing in premium, so you're missing the model here. But actually, we have bias momentum time, so maybe it's not horrible. These aren't really high confidence conditions. I think that's the main thing. Where's your break even here? Probably the 3 minute above, right? Go
Yeah.
break even there. So we got the close. V shape, 3 candle pattern. But yeah, I mean, just like not very high confidence conditions. So just going to be an eval play for me, and I'll just watch to see if it plays out.
Damn, eval play. So should I not take it?
Take it on an eval, man. Or take it in your brain. I don't know.
Bro, why not take it unfunded?
Nah, I can't. It's a long and premium. Even though it's coming off the 4 hour, there's just no draws and liquidity above that like are convincing to me. If we got it off 50,
Okay.
I'd take it in funded, but not on not when we're in premium like this. Just my rules. I like that it's during the macro though. I like the momentum. I like the three candle pattern, and I like that it goes along with bias. It's definitely like subjective, like up to the person whether or not they take this unfunded.
All right, I'm gonna go break even to this 3 minute.
On
All right, I'm going
break
break even here. Let's go.
Okay. All right, who's ready for this to be a break-even trade? Let's see. What's the stop on this? Can we actually take profit
Please
here?
break this 2 minute.
We could take profit here. This is technically 1-to-1. But nah, I'll wait to take profit at this high. And then I'll try and target, I guess, high of day or something. I like that we took out lunch.
I just put
there.
my stop at break even, and I'm just gonna see if we like run or not. If we like blast through this, I'm gonna take profit at like 22 to 11. But if we like kind of slowly go through this, I'll take profit earlier.
For sure.
And then what I'll do is I'll trail my stop below this 5 minute.
Wow, okay, the macro is kind of cooking right now.
Let's go. Okay, 3 minute is gonna close above, I think.
Yeah, we got
3
it.
minute closes above.
This wouldn't be a confirmation setup. This would just be like a late entry K trades. A confirmation setup is going to come off the same side of the curve. So it would be like if we got a retrace here and then a 30-second long. But yeah, you should have been in from here if you were trying to long, right? Where would you take out partials and where TP? So like first partial, I'd say is probably here. It's an obvious swing high, right? And then second TP would probably be these highs, and then that would just be the trade. But yeah,
I'm doing my TP like 22 to 100, I think. And I'm not taking partials.
okay. I like the idea. I just think sometimes 3 o'clock will get kind of manipulated, and so I don't really want to chance that. So I'm gonna take profit probably.
Well, we're
early.
blasting through this, bro. Especially if this 5 minute closes. Let's go, Jiu-Jitsu.
Done for day after this? Probably not, but I don't really see what else we would get. So
Dude, please 5 minute close above.
yeah, Vert, I'm not going to get married to the 50% there. Like, I'll still take a play here, but I'm just not going to take a funded and break my rules, right? My rule that, you know, I only long in premium when we have a good draw has saved me a lot of times from taking setups that, like, just end up being losers.
Damn, I don't think it's 5 minutes on close above. We'll see. All right, 5 minute, come on, please close above.
I mean, the big problem here isn't even necessarily the 5 minute. The 5 minute doesn't really have that much significance. It's going to be this 3 minute gap that's been holding us down. You know, if you want to talk about support and resistance, this 3 minute gap is our resistance, right?
And 5 minutes on close. All right, this is gonna be a break even trade. This is gonna be a break even trade. Well, it was worth a try.
3 minute external plus tapping trend line. I don't really see a trend line here. We have equal highs, so I would expect those to get hit vert.
Oh, we do have equal highs. All right. Honestly, vert is cooking. That is a good trend line.
It's only 3 touches.
Yeah, but like, it's still, but we still swept sell side, and there's equal highs aligned with it, so it just shows you it's good liquidity.
I guess. To me, the more important thing is going to be that 3 minute gap there, not necessarily the trend line. But I see
both
the
are
vision.
important. I already think this is gonna be a break even trade. I mean, the 5 did not inverse, so
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a break even trade when I entered it because the
I'm
draw
low key
liquidity.
kind of doing reverse psychology right now, so I don't get mad when it is a break even trade. But
Oh, okay, okay. Hey, that's a good coping strategy for psychology right there. Pick up on that,
Yeah.
guys, right?
I like say it's gonna be a break even trade. Then if it is, I'm not mad. Then if it isn't, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm never going to scale here, guys, like at this, because it's like a scale less than 10 points just isn't worth taking the trade at that point. And I'm never going to scale at a target that's not liquidity, right? So I'm not going to scale here at like 1-to-1 or anything, especially with equal highs above. So this will be a break-even trade if I would have taken this unfunded or reval or whatever, if it comes back at this point. But hopefully we just blast up through it. We got to get lucky for the next 13 minutes because I think when this moves again, it'll probably be like 3:15.
I was about to take a nap, but I need to manage this position.
Hey, that's not a bad thing. I'd rather be making money than sleeping, you know? Even if it's on Evo. Ooh, I know why this is not working. We have an SMT at the first liquidity target.
All right, so I'm at a break even, then I can go take a nap.
I didn't realize that was the SMT that high. Huh. Oh well. Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yeah. I got a little distracted. The first liquidity target 1-to-1 away.
All right, I got saw the break even. Goodbye.
Bye. Either way, there I'm probably not going to care about the SMT that much, to be honest. I'm probably just going to hold the position regardless. But just looking at some things as to why we got sent back. Nah, Vert, I'm going to scale at liquidity targets that are 1-to-1 away. I think the only reason why this one didn't work is because we hit the SMT there first. But nah, I'm gonna stick to liquidity targets. I'm not gonna just exit just because my stop loss is arbitrarily hit 1-to-1. But yeah, probably gonna get bottom tick to break even here, and then we're just gonna go right back up, right, guys? But yeah, I mean, not a bad trade there. We got something today at least on eval. Apparently, a lot of you guys took profit at 1-to-1, so that's cool. But yeah, with the equal highs there, I'm not gonna TP that too. So I don't know. I'm fine with it. It's just an eval break even. It's not like I got break even unfunded. No harm, no foul. Vert, I promise you that that trend line is 100% coincidental. I promise you it doesn't have significance. Is the indicator only for TradingView? I use NinjaTrader for my PA, but they don't offer many indicators. Honestly, I like TradingView a lot, Yuki, but it's I think the indicator's only for TradingView. I would just wait for a sale. Because there's usually like good sales around Black Friday, and like, you know, they did one during Easter where it was like 90% off or something, or 80% off. But yeah, for right now with the indicator, you're not really missing much. Because like what's more significant, because like, okay, this isn't really like a trend line. Like, this is what you're saying is your trend line. Like, first of all, like, man, never mind. I'm not gonna get into it. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But just trust me, there. Like, it's not gonna. It's just a coincidence. That's all it is. I understand TPing at like more significant trend lines, but like, I can draw a line across 3 lower highs, like, and say like, oh, I'm gonna TP here, and like, you know, it's just like coincidental most of the time. Like, okay, here's an example. Okay, I guess here's an example where it might like apply, like what I'm talking about. So we have 3 highs here, right, that are kind of forming this trend line, right? And you go, okay, I'm going to take the inverse here on the 30-second or whatever, right? And I'm going to TP at the trend line. Okay? Let's say you enter there after the 30-second, right? You're going to TP at the trend line, and then look at how much you miss out on by TPing there, right? It just so happened that, like, your arbitrary 2 lines that you had drawn here happen to reject here. And I think the main reason why they rejected is because the SMT and the fact that we were respecting this 3-minute gap. Like, this tells us that our order flow is still bearish. If you remember earlier in the stream when I was talking about this 3-minute, I said, you know, even though this 3-minute short failed when we had the candle come back up, is order flow bullish yet, right? And then what gap would tell us that order flow is bullish, and it's this 3-minute, right? So the reason why we're rejecting here is because, okay, we have an SMT where we sweep liquidity, and order flow hasn't been confirmed on the lower time frame yet, right? You know, we can only confirm lower time frame in the immediate swing that we're in, right? That's why we treat this as a scalp, and we're not going for the whole position until we inverse this 3-minute, right? And so it just so happens that that place that we reject from inside the 3-minute happens to make an additional high along your quote-unquote trend line, and that's why it rejects. But it doesn't really have to do anything with just the trend line specifically. It has more to do with the fact that this 3-minute gap is still holding. But low-key, I'm just hating also. Yeah, we got 1 eval trade crypto. I guess, I don't know, man. But how do you like, what's your determination for a trend line, or is it just vibes? Because if it's just vibes, then that tells me that it wasn't backtested. Like, have you backtested this, or is it just like what is your determination? Because here, this is only 2 highs. So what is your determination for a trend line then? Like, okay, but how do you draw your trend line? There has to be like a system. You wait for the reaction, see the wick. So you're saying if we have 2 touch points and you draw that line across those 2 touch points from the ITHs, and then we hit that 3rd touch point, it's live vibe in live time. I can just tell. It's not systematic. Okay. That's all. It's just vibes. I got you. Let me put you on. All right, so price is clearly still bearish here, right? So we can see order flow is still respecting bearish PD arrays and disrespecting bullish ones. We know that order flow is also still bearish, even though we inverse this 3 minutes to the upside, because this 3-minute gap doesn't have any historical significance. So we would expect it to be displaced above. The idea behind taking this inverse really is the momentum and this 3-candle pattern idea. We know that like the IFGs that are considered the best often form in this 3-candle formation after sweeping liquidity. And so we can assume in the short term that price is bullish and this will work for a scalp. And then once we get to this 3-minute, I guess, gap here, we can evaluate and see, okay, now that we're here, is price going to continue to still have bullish order flow, or are we going to reject? And clearly we rejected there, right? The issue is normally when I expect price to reject, it'll be after we tap into some unfilled fair value gap or we take out liquidity. And the problem is we did take out liquidity, just not on this indice. And unfortunately, I failed to notice that in live time. And so I feel like had I noticed it, I might have been a little bit more cautious about the trade. Maybe I would have scaled early, but honestly, I normally don't scale early on SMTs. I'll just take the break even at that point. So it's just a case of, you know, what's it called? Uncorrelated indices, right? Like we just formed another SMT at this low where ES took the low and NQ hadn't. And so when our indices are uncorrelated, that just tells us a little bit more about how price is bad and less to do with, you know, good places to take TPs or not. In this scenario here, delivery just wasn't the best, and so that's why we see price coming back here now, versus running higher and pushing through the 3-minute. Yo guys, why does it show this for me? I don't know. That's weird. I can trade MNQU, Umami, but then again, I'm trading on Tradeovate, so. Two-minute long with the SMT. It's okay. The problem is you have other fair value gaps on other time frames that haven't been closed above, and this 2-minute doesn't really have any historical significance, so you'd probably want to wait for multiple time frame confirmation entries here. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, it's invalid because we hit that high, but... Also, I think like order flow is bearish here. That's why you want the multiple time frame confirmation closes there, just so you can confirm like lower time frame order flow is actually bullish. But yeah, like I think it makes more sense here to see 50% get hit since we didn't get like that instantaneous reaction back to the upside after taking the low, right? We're continuing to make lower lows on ES, and it looks like price wants to head lower here. So I think I want to see 50% jujitsu before taking any more longs. But honestly, considering how much time we have left in the day, I don't think it really makes sense for us to get anything else today, considering we also don't really have any good draws on liquidity. The times that we'll see really good plays happen at 3 o'clock are when we have good draws, And considering we took out this buy side target and we don't have any good like targets really left for the day, that doesn't really give me a lot of confidence in seeing a big move happen during 3 o'clock. How long does it take to pass a funded for you guys? Normally, it takes me about 2 weeks, Rick, but that's during normal market conditions. Right now, it's taking me a bit longer because it's just more difficult to get winning trades, right? Yeah, for sure, TB. For sure, for sure. All right, we're pushing back up here. We had a 30-second that didn't close over the VI there. And I think that VI is significant. Oh, it's only 3 ticks. So I guess there's the break even for that 30-second. Normally when I'm looking at VIs here, I'm going to be looking at 1 point or more. And it looks like this was... Oh, no, this was a point. So yeah, this actually wasn't valid. I thought this was 3 ticks, but it's a point. Looks like it's going to end up being a break-even trade anyway, but all good. Is this momentum? So yeah, we want to look at 5 points per minute here. So if we start, this is our swing low to swing high. Yeah, that's good momentum. But obviously, you know, this is bad PA because we're not really confirming order flow bullish or bearish. So taking this 30-second long is just low probability, right? Because we need to see this 3-minute get inversed. And then we could say, okay, order flow is bullish now. Got any tips for passing? I like to size up if I'm going to be passing normally. So, like, instead of risking 250, I'll risk 500 in a trade. But yeah, obviously, like, if you have, like, an Apex account, I like the CPI and NFP passing strats the best because that way you're not really wasting any time trying to pass evals. Alright, so we're kind of just back to chopping right now. So, Rick, the sizing of the contracts depends on the size of the stop. So, for our trade earlier on the 3-minute, the size of our stop loss, or the anticipated stop, which is a manual close back below the gap. So, imagine, okay, we get the inverse here, and then price comes back and closes back down here. That would be about a 10-point stop, right? So, with that in mind, if I'm looking to risk $500, how many contracts can I risk on micros if I have a 10-point stop and I'm looking to risk $500? I think it's like, what, 25? Is that right? For a 10-point stop? So in this scenario here, you could hypothetically risk 25 micros on this trade. I'm not going to risk normally anything more than like 15 micros on a trade. So it's kind of up to you. Most times your trade stop losses are going to be bigger than this. So let's say you were intending to risk 500 on a trade and your stop loss was 20 points. That means you could probably risk, what is that? 12? Something like that? 12 or 13? So. Whoa, okay. The way that you can figure it out really easy, Rick, is if you look at your risk tool on TradingView, you can go into here and you can adjust the inputs however you like. So if I want to risk 500 in a trade, okay, you'll see that right now my lot size is based on 1 mini, okay? And so adjusting this risk adjusts my lot size. You can see the quantity now is at 1.03, and then the bigger the stop, the more I can risk, right? So at 35 points, I can risk 0.7 minis, while micros is just 10 for every mini. So if you multiply this number by 10, that's how many micros you can risk. So in this scenario here, with a 35-point stop, I can risk 7 micros. With our idea earlier of 20 points, I can risk about 12 and a half. Does that make sense? Equal highs just got ran. Yep. We can watch this 3-minute now. So this 3-minute gap is really like our roadblock in the way to confirm bullish order flow to the highs. So if we see this 3-minute break here, that would be a sign that price is going to go for 211. And then our stop loss would be based off the inception gap, and our target would be that, right? You can use the right click create limit order too. Yeah, you can do that, I guess. So like here, if I wanted to go buy, I'll have to log into a brokerage, but yeah, you get the idea. 0 day till expiry. Normally I don't take those type of trades in the middle of the range on options. I'll usually wait for the extremity. So nah, I wouldn't take an option today. Yeah, I know I could log into paper trading, but I don't feel like doing that right now. Because we got to focus on this 3-minute trade. You did not see any news? Yeah, I didn't see anything either. It might have been like G7 or something. Iranian air defenses thwart attack on Iranian South Pars gas field. Huh. That happened at 3:13. Is that when we got the spike? No, that was 8 minutes later. Preparations are being made to allow joining the attack if Trump gives the green light. Oh, so that's what that was. Okay. So it looks like Trump might get involved in the war with Iran. I don't know. I don't know. That's 10 minutes ago? 15:20, right? That should be like now when this happened. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this 3 minutes still hasn't been closed above. Yeah, Fahrenheit. He's the guy that wants to actually. He's the guy that campaigned on the fact that Joe Biden, was incompetent and couldn't solve global conflicts because he was too frail and whatever. And so he was going to come in and fix everything in the first 30 days in office. But hey, he's still got time. He's got 3.5 years. Where do I get my news from? I get my news from Financial Juice. Why I can't hear you? Just left 2 times and still can't hear you. All right, let me fix that. All right. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, ape off. I figured. Anytime I click off to the side when I'm streaming the Chrome browser, since Fun introduces Chrome too, it switches automatically. Because I don't have it focused on a window. Why don't you use the TradingView app? I don't know. Because it's the same thing, right? All the TradingView app is just an API pull, right? From the desktop version. It's like the same thing as like the Tradebait app. Oh yeah, well the thing is, Apoff is I only use one monitor, or not one monitor. I only use one screen for TradingView. Like I don't have like a bunch of different screens pulled up for TradingView. Like this is it. This is the only thing I have open in TradingView. Everything else is Tradebait. So I guess that's why. Like maybe if I was using it the way you use it, like I would use the TradingView app. But while I'm just using it for this, like I don't really have to. It's basically just like a teaching tool. Like on the charts that I actually trade on, like I don't have any of this drawn up. Like I just like recognize it. I just like I can see all of this in my head. It's all visualized already. Yeah. If you said you were not marrying 50%, what made you not take that trade funded? I didn't take it either, but it was decent. Think lower time frame just looks so mid. So the reason why I didn't take this unfunded is because I know that in like 90% of scenarios here, because we don't have a strong enough draw to pull price up, that this trade is going to end up just being a break even, right? And so like if this trade's going to end up being a break even, like why even risk any mental capital trying to take a funded trade when I can just wait to get the highest quality setup I can? And also, it's one of my rules, right? The reason why I have this rule set in place is because I know that most often we'll see this trade end up being a break even before it hits liquidity targets because of the lack of draw on liquidity, right? And that's something that, I've back tested, right? If a trade doesn't have a good draw on liquidity and we're longing in premium or shorting in discount, then that trade oftentimes just doesn't deliver to the target. Yeah, the data high is too far away to be considered a good draw because contextually in the market, are we really moving anywhere? Is this really showing us any displacement or, expansion anywhere? Right? If like we wanted to take a long and target something that's 200 points away, we would want to be in the distribution phase, right? But does this look like we're distributing anywhere? Like, so that's kind of the problem, right? Is we have to be realistic about our draws and liquidity when we're in certain phases of the market. And right now, because we're not in any distribution phase, it doesn't make sense to target something that's like completely out of reach, right? For sure, Tambi. For working out risk, can you just do 500 divided by 20 equals 25 points if you're risking 500 for 1 minute, 10 micros? I mean, yeah, basically every 10 points on a micro, Harry, is $20. Or it's 2 points per micro, okay? Or sorry, not 2 points. 1 point per micro is $2, okay? And so if your intention is to risk $200 per trade, then you know that 10 micros is 200. And every few points more than that is like one less micro you can trade, right? So a 12-point stop is like 8 micros, and then like a 15-point stop is like 6 micros, and then like a 20-point stop is like 5, right? And you just get like used to it. You just memorize it over time, right? Wait, 15-point is not 6, is it? No, it is. It is because that's $30 per micro times 6 is 180. So like 6 or 7. Yeah, on retail sales. Retail sales is going to move us 15 points tomorrow. We're gonna get a 15-point candle. It's gonna be a 5-point wick to the upside, a 5-point wick to the downside, and then a 5-point body. Nah, I think our trade for this week is gonna be FOMC. We are going to get an OSFL set up for FOMC. All right, guys. Remember this time. 3:31 from 6:16. All right, this is when Vert said we are not going to get an OSFL setup. Maybe he's trying to use reverse psychology right now, but I'll pin it. We're gonna get it. Actually, I can't pin anything in this chat, but we'll just remember. Data high is from Wednesday of last week. It's at 8:30. So that would be what? Like 6:10? 6:11? 6:11, I think. FOMC is on Wednesday, correct. Yeah, Vert, I think we took it. Was it was I streaming for Dodgy during AM or was it a PM trade? Dude, look at this. We still respect that 3-minute and we're going back down. Yeah, I remember that. I think it was like a 30-second or something. All right, so we have a liquidity sweep here. We have bearish order flow. We don't have a draw really, right? We're targeting sell side that swept out a low. And you're targeting a low inside of a 4-hour gap. That had a bullish reaction. So terrible draw. So bias is not confirmed. Momentum here is good. Time is good. Model's good. So this is like another potential eval trade. But I'll probably just wait for the long setup that we get after taking the lows versus taking the lower probability short. Here's the OSFL. Hey, that looks like my chart. Wait, it's not though. It's the same background, I think. Or something similar. Yeah, that OSFL does look good. Damn. Yeah, we'll get something like that Wednesday. You think we will get it in 30 minutes the long? No, I don't. Am I in that 4-hour Bitcoin trade? No, I'm not. Crazy void on that move up. Yeah, that makes sense. Low volume conditions, no orders were filled here. So price comes back, balances the void, and then we'll go back up now. Wait, is that the same OSFL or is that a different one? Oh, that's the same one. 23rd of April. Yeah, this looks like the same one. It's the same price level, I think. Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu. That was my last OSFL, I think. I mean, I think we only get, what, 4 OSFL setups a month? We get usually like an unemployment claims one. We get CPI, we get NFP, and we get FOMC. Right? Like those are our 4 OSFLs a month. Usually one a week. And we just haven't gotten one in a minute. No, I normally risk the same profitable. All right, let's see. So no setup here to the upside. Do I speak right now? Honestly, there's not even anything for me to speak on. We're just chopping sideways. For sure. Wordle? I guess. Let me see if this is done. Oh yeah, this finished. All right, cool. All right, let me throw that in here. All right, we got an E at the end. No R. So probably something that's like E, like I, or it could be like, no, it can't be that. It'd be like IE. It can't be Nice because there's no E at the end. I like IE here maybe, but like it could be like bited. That's not even a word. Deuce can't be deuce. There's no U at the end. Yeah, we took one eval trade that ended up being a break even. Twisted. We got an SMT at the high and price came back. Yield. Yes, yield is a good word. Ooh, so okay, so we get the Y. There's no I in it. So it could be like petty. Could be petty. Yep, Twisted, that was the one. Wow, we got it in 3. Oh my goodness. Amazing trade. Yield was a good guess for sure. All right, let's see the crossword. Slow blank primate with big eyes for 1 across, 6 across. Title character who says I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat. I don't know. National mammal of the United States. Something to RSVP for. Word commonly mixed up with fewer. Where care instructions are often found on a garment. Main ingredient in tapenade. Gets up. Array on a touchscreen. Email status. 1 is sloth. Sure, we can try that. I don't think bison are slow. I don't know if sloths have big eyes, but I know they're slow. Are sloths a primate, though? I don't know if sloths are a primate. Yeah, bison aren't a primate. That's a good point. All right, number 7 is bison. Yes, I like that. Lemur. Slow lemur? Is it lemur? All right, you can try lemur. Label 1 down. See, I wasn't really going with that. I was thinking like like the neck or like the collar, but obviously that doesn't really work. So I was thinking of like synonyms for those things. Email status? What would email status be? Sloth are not a primate. Yeah, that's what I figured. Red, right? But so that then bison is wrong? Six across is Alice. I think I like Alice. Main ingredient in top. I think bison is wrong. I think label could be wrong too. This could be like lapel. Right? So then what is P? Something to RSVP for. Oh, we're moving. Kind of. So it's probably red. less, right? It gets up. What's gets up? Array on a touchscreen, bro. I have no idea. I'm kind of lost. I feel like Lemur's throwing this thing off. Shouldn't 7 be eagle? Yeah, mammal. Eagles are mammals. Gets up is rises. You think this one's rises? Okay, so yeah, I think Alice and Lemur might just be wrong. I think we're just having a hard time here. I guess Alice could still be right, right? Right, that makes sense for like the Cheshire Cat. Maybe it is bison, but like, what is this then? What is this? Send? Ah, send maybe? I guess it could be sent. And then, what is this then? So that's not right. Event? Ah, okay, okay, okay. Icons, and then what's this last one? This is label, this is olive. There we go. All right, there we go. I guess it's a loris. So yeah, this was wrong. This was our problem. Bison was right. My apologies for whoever I said bison was the right thing. That made sense. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea what a loris is. Slow loris. Huh. Well, there we go. Is it Apoff? That would be funny. That'd be funny. All right, last one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. All right. Oh, did not mean to log in. All right, we got 350 here in a couple minutes. So maybe 350 will give us something, but ship shape, inanimate, carbon, rod, glass, wooden, bracket, garnish, busboy, trainee, flat, straw, blank, hook, coaster, curtain. We're trying to make 4 different categories, and each category has like a common theme, and we don't know what the categories are, so we have to guess. So trainee, busboy, maybe. You're saying maybe hook, rod, curtain. What's the last one? Bracket? Okay. Straw, coaster, glass. What is this? What's the common theme? Garnish. Cocktail? What is the straw thing though? I get this, but what's the straw? Oh, the drink, duh. I was thinking like straw like the like the like the hat, you know? Like I don't know. Anyway, busboy trainee. This? What are we saying? Like, what are the last two? By the way, we're dumping. We just could not break this 3-minute. So maybe if we inverse this 3-minute to the downside in 30 seconds, that'll tell us that 350 is going to be bearish here. Flat, wood, and carbon, blank. Okay. So if we're thinking like... Yeah, like, yeah, I get the idea. Oh, one away. Damn. I don't know. So do we inverse the 3? We close to the tick. I think. Yeah. So no inverse there. That sucks. Maybe the 2 minute. We'll get that in 45 seconds. I feel like we're going to test my friend's theory again. He says that first 30-second crate at 350 should work for a short. Blank, flat, wooden, carbon. I think we just did that, right? So that's been guessed. Busboy trainee. What's the last one? Pay attention to the 2 minute here. If 2 minute closes below, is this an entry? Probably not. Because no sweep. No. Not really a good target. But yeah, there's the inverse. I think this will work. There's not really any roadblock in the way for us, right? We should just go down here. I don't know. I'm not going to take this. It's like we're saying, bad PA. Nah, this is great PA. What do you mean? We're during the macro. Flathead screwdriver? Is that something that... No. What are we thinking? Like this, maybe? I just don't get, like, what the correlation between all these things is. Inanimate, wooden, carbon. Okay, what's the correlation? What is ship shape? I think that's the part that I'm just like trim and neat. So neat. I have no idea. Did we guess this already? Blank, flat, wooden, carbon. Yeah, we did, right? So this can't be right. Blank, inanimate, flat, wooden. All right, let's try that. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Methods of transportation. Bus, car, ship, train. Oh my. Oh my god. Okay. All right. What are my thoughts on the 1 minute long? We just inversed a 2 minute to the downside, so delivery or order flow is uncertain, so I can't form a bias, so I can't take a trade. Oh, also we inversed the 3 minute to the downside, so we're inversing bullish PD race to the downside and then inversing bearish PD race to the upside. We just got an SMT at this high. And 1 minute's invalid. All right, I'm probably going to end stream here. It doesn't look like 350 is going to give us anything, so... I'll probably see you guys all tomorrow. Probably going to be another midday, but Wednesday should be good. So, hopefully we get something good then. All right. Peace out, everyone.